Are you here? Well, then you're invited. It is the Paul Leslie Hour, joined by professional Charleston tour guide, certified Cicerone, and beverage expert, Coby Glass. Recorded at the Matador in Charleston, South Carolina. Coby and Paul talk into the mic, but this time they're holding a glass. They're tasting the celebrated spirit of Código Tequila, founded by the king of country, George Strait. A premium pour and a candid review starts now.
Coby, did you ever get a feeling like you're in a variation of a different time in a different place, but just there's a little detail?
There seems to be a continuity to our story, no doubt.
Yes.
There's a theme going on.
Right.
It's never quite, much like your mustache, it's never the same twice when I hang out with Paul Leslie.
Well, we're here at the Matador in beautiful, historic Charleston, South Carolina. I'm joined yet again by Coby Glass, certified Cicerone, historian, pub tour guide, raconteur.
And an enjoyer of spirits, and certainly looking forward to our spirit today. And I am very thankful to Paul Leslie for including me and looking forward to another adventure.
Coby really knows his beverages. He will tell you history, suggestions on pairings. I've never been able to stump you. Not that I would try.
I can make it up pretty good when I need to.
It's kind of fitting right now, although I didn't plan this, that we're going to be sampling Código Tequila because it's George Strait's brand. It was just yesterday, I believe, he received Kennedy Center honors, which is about the highest civilian honor you can get.
I agree, and I'm very excited. That's a man who has extremely high standards, doesn't cut corners, whether it's music, his relationships, professional and personal, from what I understand. I don't know the man, but I can't wait to try tequila that he is going to be, that he has put his brand on.
So the first one here, this is the Rosa Blanco, okay? And then they were so kind that they sent this, a little sample of the Reposado. Knowing what you know about tequila, is there one that you think is a fitting beginning?
Excellent question, because usually in a tequila tasting, you would always go Blanco, the Reposado, and then the Añejo, and then an extra Añejo if there is one. That is the accepted thing. But this throws a little monkey wrench in. This is a Blanca Rosa.
Right.
Now, if you were to go back during the Spanish settlements, if you were to turn back the clock, as you said earlier, when the Spaniards were in Central America and had discovered the spirits, the natural spirits, the añejos or the tequilas, the mezcals, the wine barrels that they sent over with wine for their soldiers and to sell and for trade and for ballast in ships would then be refilled with tequila and sent back to Spain. And that wine barrel edge was the Rosa. And that fell out of favor as you had better ways of transporting, and that was mostly dead, but has been brought back certainly in the last 5 to 10 years and has become a very popular segment, variation, maybe a better word, for tequila drinkers. So rather than go Blanco Repo, I think we go the other way around because the Reposado will send a better baseline.
Right.
And then we can determine if the Rosa Blanco is better, worse, how we perceive it, perceptions. They're not going to be the same.
Okay.
And there's going to be enough variables where I think it would be more fun to do this one a little bit backwards.
Okay. I say yay. All right.
May I?
You may, absolutely. Well, the tequila tasting, who knows, we might kill a whole bottle.
So, Paul, how did you come about being the one to introduce this to America?
This particular tequila?
Yes.
I think that the Rod Stewart our brothers across the channel there, I think that they saw the sampling that we did of Wolfie's, which is the Rod Stewart Scotch, and it was just, a natural progression.
If y'all haven't seen the Wolfies episode, that was a lot of fun. We filmed that. How long ago was that?
It was about a year, maybe?
About a year. Yeah.
It was chilly, I remember that. Yeah. I think I remember that.
We didn't drink that much. Very soft florals. Softer than I expected.
There is a floral, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a bit of a cream
like a blossom
in there. Definitely softer than I expected.
Not at all what I expected. I will confess I'm a total novice when it comes to tequila sipping. So I've tried whiskey, scotch, all those things, brandy, but
I'll take the little Samsutras. They grow here naturally in Charleston. I have a friend who gives them to me occasionally. I'll peel it, take they're tiny little wedges, put them in the freezer, and then I'll take 2 of the little wedges and put them in my tequila and sip on it. And it kind of has a cooling effect, but I like the combination of the little Samsutras, little tiny citrus wedges, and the tequila. So I enjoy my tequila that way. Well, it escalates quickly for Reposado. I was betrayed a little bit by the nose being as soft as it was, because I got the attention was there, and it swelled very quickly. A lot of mouthfeel, a lot of presence, and then a nice fade. Didn't linger. Some honeysuckle on the linger.
I can taste that. Yeah. You're used to tequila, or I should say, I'm used to tequila that's maybe not as high quality. And so I'm like, here comes the burn. But this, you don't get that. You get a very, very slight warm feeling.
That's a really good 8 seconds, George. No, that is about an 8-second ride. And that is, the irony is not lost. It swells up, does a few twists, and after 8 seconds, hop right off. That's fun.
Now, Coby, do you think it's
just to be sure?
Yeah, let's do that. Make the most of things.
That's an Irish thing. You can tell by one sip, but it's best to be sure.
Do you think it's too good to use in something like a margarita?
Ouch. A good, well-mixed margarita can be complemented by a good tequila.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the sugary, artificial colored, mixed, but a hand-done, authentic ingredient margarita done by someone who knows what they're doing. They know that they can use a good tequila. Generally, a good tequila is going to be wasted if you're using the off-the-shelf mixers. And,
right.
It's silly. In fact, it's very often a worse drink because you want sometimes the harshness of the less expensive tequila to balance the sweetness of the sweet and sour of the mix. So if I'm at fill-in-the-blank Mexican restaurant in the strip mall with my Bolo margarita, that's
right.
And I do that. Guilty. But but yeah, I want house tequila in that. But you can make an amazing margarita with good tequila and with something that elevates like this. And then again, that 8 seconds or so and gone. I think it could certainly escalate a quality margarita.
It's very good. I can say that. Maybe not the most eloquent way to put it, but
you are a man of words. So.
This is a whole new level of tequila drinking. It's something that it as I said, rank novice, never sipped fine tequila until now.
Oh, really?
Actually, I take that back. I did try Herradura one time, a really good one, and learned, that, hey, not all tequila is created equal.
I firmly believe, Paul, that tequila has more of a range from the low quality to the high quality. And I don't think this is even subjective than any other spirit. You can look at something with a very small window, vodka, most notably. It's grain neutral spirit. The more it tastes like water, the better, for the most part. I disagree with that, but that's common myth. I like flavor not flavored tequilas, but or vodkas. But I rarely drink vodka because it's boring. But if I do, I want some signature to it. Tequila, on the other hand, you can get really bad tequila.
Yeah.
The additives are the easiest thing to look for. Make sure it's 100% blue agave. Make sure it's a true, not the really bad stuff. And I've fallen for the trap because some of the brands change. You can't get enough of the blue agave, and they become, blue agave spirit.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are going to cause you health issues. I think that's the ones you don't want to drink on a normal basis. That's the stuff they put in the Bolo Margarita at fill in the blank Mexican restaurants. But the sipping tequilas can vary so much from one to another. It is amazing how the personalities can be so vibrantly different. And I do generally, anytime I'm doing a tasting, and I do beer a lot more often than I do spirits, and I do a good bit with wine. What is it? What is that bell curve? What is the roller coaster ride? If it's a basic, say a Baltic porter, you're going to have a nice firm middle, and it's going to be clean at the beginning and end. Unlike an English porter that has a linger. They're supposed to be different profiles. Tequila, just buckle up, buckaroo, and you're on the roller coaster. It can go so many different directions. And like I said, this one starts out with a big hill at the top, escalates quickly, does a few little twisties there, and then the ride ends in about 8 seconds. That is lovely craftsmanship.
Excellent. Yeah, I have to admit, I can't wait to try the Rosa, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I would like to thank the Matador here in Charleston for hosting us. I've been here before at night a few times, but not during the day. And it looks every bit as good during the day. You can see a lot more details. Yeah. But they were our kind host.
Thank you. Thank you to the Matador. And thank you, Nicole. Coby, do you have an all-time favorite tequila song? There's been a recurring subject.
I was recently fortunate enough to do a Fruitcakes on the Radio for Jimmy Buffett. And there's a song in there, and I had joked that because I do alcohol-themed pub tours, pints, pubs, pirates, prostitutes, and politics. And I had made a little joke that I think Tampico Trauma has all 5 of those in there. And even though it's not officially a tequila song, it is about hanging out and drinking in bars in Mexico, which I think is pretty much enough of an overlap where that counts.
Yeah.
The live version from Atlanta, 1976, I think. You can correct me on that. Mid-70s. Jimmy Buffett, You Had to Be There, Tampico Trauma.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
Very good choice. I have to say the one that pops in my head, a very underrated Brooks and Dunn song, kind of connected to tequila, More Than a Margarita. I don't know if you've heard that one. It starts with, I started the day with Corona, which I know you're admittedly not a huge fan of.
Yes, I've often said you couldn't put $100 bill down in front of me for me to take a sip of a Corona, and I'll stand by that.
Okay. Hold on one second.
They're not a sponsor, are they?
So, are you thinking that we should...
Sorry, Paul had to leave for a moment. The attorneys for Corona were calling and asking us to retract the last statement. But you ready for...
The headliner?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
We take this off of here. Very curious. When I saw it, just the kind of makes me think of Zinfandel wine and color.
Yeah, that little tint.
It just intrigued me.
A nice classic bottle, too. Tequila is well known. Tequila has the best bottles of anybody. And some tequilas sell, to be honest, because the bottle's really cool. When I worked for a high-end beer importer, and we had the best beers in the world, and I would tell my distributors, doesn't matter if the beer's good. And they're like, what do you mean? good is assumed. Once you get to a certain level, all your competitors are good too. What else you got?
Yeah.
And you have to have something else in addition to being good generally to be, successful. It can be a well-located restaurant. It can be a great name. There's a lot of things that can go in. It can be from an area, from a town that is popular tourist attraction or desirable in one way or another. So George Strait obviously has tremendous respect and influence throughout generations of music and genres.
That's the truth.
But he didn't go tacky. He didn't go kitschy. As you were saying, very classic, very refined. It's an elegant package. And I was thankful to see that. I was hoping it didn't have like a cowboy and some spurs,
Right. He went class all the way. What would you expect from a guy who did a duet with Frank Sinatra, for example? I don't know about you, but even just opening it, this one, in terms of smell, I'm smelling it. It smells wonderful. Are you getting any of that?
I've got a big nose, but it's not as evidently not as good as yours. So
well,
let's see what you're. Make sure. Yeah.
Okay. Trying the Rosa now. Okay.
Cleaner on the aroma on the nose. Little grassy.
Yeah.
A little drier than grass, more hay than grass. That kind of.
Yeah. I was going to say
subtle
straw.
difference, but straw. Yeah, that's.
Which is a nice thing, actually.
Yeah, but very clean on the nose. That is, I'm almost wary now after being fooled on the other one. That wine gives it a sweetness that's right up front.
It does.
It just leads with that little rollout of. This is so stupid, but it almost like those little bubblegum cigarettes that I had when I was a kid, and you had that little powdered sugar on the outside. It's like that, but it's just there for a second. You get that little bit of sugar, but yeah, that little sweetness that rolls right through, and then the tequila comes after.
That's nice.
It is
There is something of wine in it, in terms of the flavor.
subtle.
So not like hitting you over the head, but just a little bit.
In hindsight, I'm glad we did it this way because there is complexity here. It would have worked either way. This is a softer, even though the Reposado had that more intensity, like I said, more of a bull ride. This is much more gentle. This is more of a serenade instead. This is very gentle on the palate. And it does kind of samba through as opposed to the 8-second ride. The linger is nice. That sweetness rolls right through.
Yeah.
And it kind of stays in the background the rest of the time. It never fully goes away. It just kind of hints that it's back there still. And then it kind of meanders, and it stays the same a long time after. It's got a very good linger to it, more so than the Reposado.
It seems that each sip invites another. It's really smooth.
It is.
Yeah.
This is dangerously easy to drink.
That's what I was thinking. You said it, but
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, my little piece of citrus in there would complement this one very nicely. Yeah, whatever that initial sweetness is, and it's the blue agave, but you don't get it as much in the nose. Those don't, much like the Repo, the nose and the actual experience are not, there's a complexity there that is, it doesn't give you that much of a hint. The preview and the movie aren't the same, so they go in different directions, and it keeps it interesting.
Now, what would you see somebody eating this with?
For this one, I think this would go well with like a spiced chicken, a grilled chicken, something that had a little kind of maybe a tropical, like a plantains, some mangoes, something that would kind of give it a little bit of a citrusy or tropical citrus kick, because that complements this one well. And I tell you what, this would go really well with is a good mild cigar. This is a good tequila for a cigar because you have that offset that would complement so well. Yeah, I would love to have a good cigar with this. something just a little spicy, but that like I said, that little sweetness that this has would balance a cigar very nice.
Interesting idea.
People don't always think tequila with cigars, but I don't see why not. I mean, it's a wonderful combination. You want the excitement or the relaxation, and cigars can go that gamut, and tequila, and you can mix and match. You can, go with two. It's just fun.
Coby, do you have a favorite George Strait song?
It is so hard not to go with some of the, I'm always tempted to go with the deeper cuts because it shows knowledge. I get to show off how well I know,
Right.
And he's got so many, and the collaborations that he's done, the things, that I hear. But there's one song that just paints a picture every single time, and it's a song I've never gotten tired of hearing. A friend of mine does a karaoke. It's one of his best known and oldest songs, and it's just one of those perfect songs, The Chair.
Oh my gosh, what a song.
It's just an easy song, but again, it's hard to find perfect songs, but songs that you don't get tired of hearing.
Yeah.
Even when, I'll admit it, there's a lot of songs that I might claim to be my top 10 favorite songs. Of the 50 or so songs that are in my top 10, a lot of them, if they come on a radio, Sirius XM, what have you, I've heard them so much that I don't want to hear them more.
Yeah.
I will change the channel because I don't, the burnout. But that song, if it's like A Christmas Story at Christmas, if it comes on, I'm right at the rest of the way up. It is, I'm not changing. It's a song that always makes me amused.
Yeah. Yeah, he has so many. One that I've been listening to a lot lately, it's a new one from this last album, God and Country Music. It's just, it's killer. But then I think of, The Chair was written by Dean Dillon, such a great songwriter, who also wrote Tennessee Whiskey. And I think of that
was early mid 70s, Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah. Which little trivia for you all, George Strait turned that song down.
Oh,
David Allen
he's
Coe.
a tequila guy.
Right. Yeah, but his song, this makes me think of his song "Here for a Good Time," because I'm certainly having one right now.
I'll drink to that.
Good times.
That just gets easier to drink.
Recommend?
Absolutely. I think it's of the two.
Yeah.
I think I like the Blanco better. I am intrigued by that little, like I said, that little sweet outer, that little hint that it dances in and out. It stays mostly in the background, but makes it more pairable and more fun to drink in a few different ways. Whereas the Reposado, I would like, on its own, maybe a little some citrus, or a little clementine, but this gets me going more. This is we're going to have fun tonight. We're drinking tequila, beginning of the day tequila, and this is a more end of the day, relax, settle down, and enjoy. Two very different tequilas, more different than I expected. I expected variation of the same theme, and that's not what they did here at all. Or if they didn't, it doesn't come across that way. It comes across as two very distinctively different tequilas, and that's very impressive.
Well, Coby, thank you so much for sharing some background. I always learn something anytime I talk to you, but also it's always good to share a drink.
Always. Cheers, Paul.
Cheers. Thanks, folks.
Really is good.